The House of Mystery presents Inside Writing, the radio show where authors discuss their writing process in all genres.
You're back in the House of Mystery, and I'm at the controls, Al Warren, and my co-host today is David Martinos. Trying it with
Thanks,
no
Al.
name. And
That's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah. So now we've got a very special guest that's called all the way from Colombia, and his name is Jesus Ruiz Henao.
Yes.
Thanks for being here, Jesus.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, and we've also got Ron Chepesiuk, who is the author or co-author of the book called The Real Mr. Big, How a Colombian Refugee Became the United Kingdom's Most Notorious Cocaine Kingpin. Well, thank you for being here, Ron.
Thank you, Alan.
So Ron, let's start with you here. How did you come across this case to write the book?
Well, very interesting. I woke up one morning in May 2017, and first thing I do is I get my coffee. Then I go to the computer and I check my mail, and I had this email in there, and I could tell it was from England. I was saying, "What am I getting an email from England?" And it was the daughter of Jesus, and she had written me a note and saying that her father knew about me, and he was getting out of prison pretty soon, and would I be interested in writing a book with him? And I looked and I said, who is this guy? Jesus Ruiz Henao, and I looked at it and I was saying, Philly, she had about 5 clips with it, and so I clicked on the links, and that was kind of amazing. The articles described this Colombian, he came to the United Kingdom as sort of a refugee, and he had built this incredible network, which at one time employed probably 20,000 people, and there was claims that he was the first billion-pound cocaine kingpin in British history. And then I read a comment by one of the police officers describing him as the Pablo Escobar of United Kingdom cocaine trafficking. So that was enough to get me interested as a writer. I said, wow, and there was really nothing written about him. And this guy Jesus had stayed under the radar. And so I wrote back and I said, I'd be interested in talking with Jesus about this. And so he said, okay, and then we arranged a phone conversation. He called me from prison. At the time, he was serving 18 years in the British penitentiary, and we talked a little bit about that. She sent me some sort of a diary that he kept, which was quite interesting, and we said, okay, we're gonna, we can work together on this thing. And he thought he was getting out early, but for some reason, and you can check with Jesus on this, the legal reasons, he kept getting delayed. And so it was like 2019, and I was pretty kind of pessimistic that he was going to get out. And one day he got out, and next thing I know, he was back in Colombia. They deported him after they released him, and he was back in Colombia. And so I wrote his daughter and said, what's going on? Is he out? And all that, and she said, "Yeah, you give some time to acclimatize himself back to Colombia, and then we'll get together with you." And so we got together, and gave him some time to get used to freedom, and we agreed that I would go to Colombia, and I would interview him, and we're going to do a book on that. And so I did that in late January of 2020. And it was very fortunate because it was just before COVID hit. In fact, the first cases were just breaking on that. So it was a very normal situation. And I went there, and for a week I interviewed Jesus. And then I came back and had enough for a book, and I wrote a book proposal. And so that's how we got started.
Pretty interesting history there. Were you a little bit nervous about going to Colombia and getting involved?
No. I've been going to Colombia since the late 1980s, and I've been there, and I've written extensively. I've written like 3 or 4 books on the Colombian drug trade, and I've written numerous articles about it. And I was very familiar with Bogota. Colombia could be a dangerous place, but it's improved a lot since Jesus' heyday. It's gotten much more calm around there, and I'm a journalist. These things don't bother me when the person's not involved with journalism, and so no, I didn't feel anything. And I was in Bogota. We were in a hotel room, and we worked together, and I got the information that I needed, and then went back home. So no problem on that.
Jesus, so tell us how you got involved in this kind of a lifestyle.
I don't know, since I was a very young boy, I saw the people going around in expensive car, and then I realized the market of the cocaine was the way to make money. And then, I don't know, it's something you grow up with that, and you grow up between these people, and then you just get involved into this.
Jesus grew up in Armenia, which is, cocaine country. He grew up among cocaine. I mean, the coca crop was grown to make cocaine from, so it was a very natural part of his life on that. And he grew up poor, too, a large family, and he saw the things that people were buying with the money they made from the cocaine trade, and he decided that he was going to get into it.
So, Jesus, how did you deal with the success of becoming so big, becoming like the Mr. Big?
At the beginning, it's really hard because there's a lot of people jealous in this business. It's a lot of people to want to take you out of the way. Doesn't matter what, they can do anything just to get you out of the way. And in Colombia, at that time, it was really hard to get it. You had to deal with a lot of criminals, sicarios especially, because they want to have the power. They don't want anyone to get the power. And for that reason, since I was a very young boy, 17, 18 years old, I traveled to Europe just to search the market. And my first travel was into Italy. And there, I managed to get a new, very good contacts with the Sicilian mafia. And from there, I started. Then they brought me to London. From there, the market was open market, very easy to do business with this kind of business with cocaine. I saw that. I was looking around. I was looking the market. I saw the potential, and then I went back to Colombia, and then I just started my career. Can say that. Slowly, I was building up, because there was not too much restriction, not too much hard things to do. That was so easy, and slowly that becomes so big.
One of the things about Jesus is that he decided at a very early age not to mess with the United States. He didn't want to deal with the United States dealing with trafficking. And that's where most of the Colombians where we're going. The Medellin cartel with Escobar, the Cali cartel with the Rodriguez Orjuela brothers, they were going to the United States. He thought the laws there and the opportunities wouldn't be as great if he went into Britain. And I think he made the right decision, because Britain was an untapped market, well into the 1990s.
Yeah, and I guess, Jesus, you were probably were you not as scared as with the British police or authorities when it come to that?
At that time, I wasn't scared of them. I was scared of the Americans, because I saw how the DAA, American, were working really hard in Colombia, and they managed to catch and to get anyone involved in this business. And on top of that, the Medellin cartel and Cali cartel, they were concentrate into the American market. And for that reason, I went into Europe. Spain at that time was a lot of people working in Spain, but my main view was UK because of the prices. And at that time, I was not really Colombians working out there. And then when I went there, I just managed to learn a little bit of the law and the police, how they doing, and they was really a lot behind of the Americans. And for that reason, I say this is the place to do the market. And I was not scared of them. Now they update into the Americans, but before that, early 90s, mid 90s, they were really behind.
And Jesus, how do you know who you can trust in this kind of business to build such an empire to work with? How do you choose your people you worked with?
When the people come into the organization, they normally allow people to do very low jobs. They can recommend it, and we know all the family where the father, all the family live in case they don't get a chance to disappear. And to trust them at the beginning is really hard. It's not easy. But when you get introduced to someone, a higher person to be higher in the organization, has to be recommended and has to be trusted or has to be done something for someone before. But he's someone who just coming like new one. I never let them see my face, or I never speak to them. I always say a worker to try to do things with them till we can start trust a person. But it's not easy, really hard.
The thing about Jesus is he operated like a CEO of a major corporation. He would vet people that came into the organization. He would check them out. He would go see where they were hanging out. He'd check out their family, and he would really vet them carefully before he would allow them into the organization. And interestingly, trust was not an issue with Jesus. He was able to operate very efficiently with fellow gangsters, and it was very successful from it.
Jesus, did you keep a regular job while you were creating your drug empire?
At the beginning, yes. I was doing a regular job. I was working in a coffee shop, and I was doing a bus driver, and I was doing a normal job. When the business became so good, too big, that was impossible for me to keep my job. And I had to get out of the job and I started going around. But luckily, because I won some kind of lottery there, I managed to have money around me. And when the police were checking on me, they will notice that they will know that I already have money from some lottery win. And for that reason, that was good for me that was easy for me to leave the job and start running around like my own business, my own coffee shop.
Yeah, finally, Jesus had to quit. I describe in the book where he's riding the bus and he's arranging these 100,000-pound drug deals, and finally it became too much for him. He just said, I'm going to have to quit and focus full time on the cocaine. But he enjoyed working, didn't you, Jesus?
Yes, I was enjoying working. I really liked working, but then I had to choose or carry on with my bus driver job or do the cocaine, and I really choose the cocaine. Maybe mistake, maybe no, but I don't know. Too late now to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and now I notice. Okay, so you get out of prison, and you've been kind of laying low. So is there a reason you're sort of laying low or staying out of the limelight?
I have, coming out of prison, I'm very careful, yes. I'm running very low. I don't want people to see me. I don't want no one to find out who I am. And I still really quiet, most of the time indoors.
Yeah. So what made you decide to get Ron and get together and write a book?
When I noticed I was in the news all around the world, in BBC News 24 hours, when I saw all the newspaper around the world talking about me, I say, oh, this is massive. I think I'm going to start writing. And from inside prison, I start writing, and I was thinking, I'm going to write a book right now. I'm going to let the people what I done, probably. I don't know. I just made the decision, and I say, yes, I'm interested in that, and I'm going to do it. And for that reason, I start looking to contact the ideal person to write my book, and then it's when I found a Ron.
And so you had a family during this time?
Yes, I have family.
And how were they with everything?
They are okay. I keep it close to my family because the one thing you really manage to appreciate and to value is the money. The family. The family. That no money can buy the love of the family. No money can do anything when you lose that. And I keep close to them. I managed to speak to them from prison, send letters to them, cards, everything. And I keep close to them. Some of them still live in the UK, and now in Colombia. But I keep close to them.
Yeah, he explains that in the book, the big lesson that he learned, that money can't buy everything, and that the family is the most important thing. And he really regrets, spending all those years apart from his family in prison, because he's very close to his son and daughter, and to his wife, Maria.
And Ron, is there a subtext for the book? Is there some sort of something that what people can get out of this book? Like what is the?
You mean like Hemingway?
Yeah. No, is there something beside during the?
Well, I'll tell you, it's like all the books that I write. I mean, they all have the same ending. Everybody gets caught. They end up spending a lot of time in prison. So, I guess if there's a lesson, it's crime does not pay. And I think that you can enjoy the moment. And Jesus did this. I mean, he went on these trips, vacation trips, where he spent 100,000 pounds, in a weekend, and all that. But eventually, it's going to catch up with you. Eventually, going to catch up with you, and that's what happened to Jesus. He thought he had beaten the game. He got out. And he was out for 6 months, but then, because of certain events, he got caught up. The police were investigating him, and the next thing you know, he was arrested and was convicted. On that. And so I think there's a lesson. It's like all my books is that crime doesn't pay in the long run.
Yeah. Jesus, what would you tell someone in that same business nowadays? Would you give them advice?
How can I get to trust someone? Okay. It's a lot of times, and I think so many times in this business that people approach you to be a customer or to be in the organization. And to trust them is really hard. I've normally just texting them. I just try to make them to do something else for the organization and see what's coming on. Because it's a lot of police involved in this business. And they become active in the organization, but when you trust them to do something specific, and they cannot do it. And then it's when you realize this person is not good. And to manage to get the trust in the organization, they have to be willing to do anything. But in my organization, I never put any person in danger. I never use violence against anyone. I never kill or murder anyone. I keep that way. I was only looking into do business, make money. That was my main point. And for that reason, I believe the heat didn't come on me for too long. Because as soon as no murders around, it's no people killing or stabbing because of this business, the heat stay away from us.
And the thing about Jesus is that in this really cutthroat business, he didn't carry a gun, and which is quite amazing because in chapter 3 of the book, I talk about the sicarios, and Jesus mentioned them earlier. The sicarios were contract killers. I mean, they made their money from killing people, and Jesus got involved with them. He almost got killed, and that was one of the reasons why he had to leave the country, was because his life was in danger because of them. But he still, did not carry a gun, and he believed in the power of persuasion, the power of his words to convince people to do things that he wanted them to do.
Jesus, what do you feel about the war on drugs that's going on around the world?
I don't know. I think so that is a war that never ends. I believe the governments and the police will never win that. The only things, I've been involved in this business for so long. I saw how people become addicted to drugs, but I saw many people as well getting out of the drugs. And I believe I was in prison for so long. I saw how drugs is available inside British prison at every moment. But I believe it's all about education. You can see in Colombia, it's not the addiction that is everywhere in the world. In Colombia, people take drugs, yes, but they don't become like junkies. They don't become in the addiction too heavy, because it's people grow up between them. I grow up between the cocaine plants. I grow up between the cocaine everywhere around my home and my farm, everywhere. I never use drugs because I'm well aware what it is. But when the people doesn't know what that can make to them, that will destroy them, is when they become into the addiction. But the government educate the population properly, they will become aware of it.
How has this changed you?
How it changed me?
Yeah, the whole experience of being in the business and going to jail and coming out of it. When you look back at it, what do you think the biggest change to you personally?
I think the biggest change for me is now from outside, because I was there. I was inside very heavy, and I was doing everything there. And now from outside, after the prison, I was thinking this for many months inside prison, is because we have to give you a hand. We have to track the people who get into the addiction is by a health problem, even medication. And now I saw from outside that this is bad. This is bad. This is really destroy family, destroy people, and changed me a lot, because now I managed to see the life properly. And try to give it a hand, extend my hand to people who are in addiction. I try to give them advice. And luckily, after I left the prison a year ago, I managed to get one person out of the drugs. He's still smoking now, but no drugs at the moment.
Okay, great. Now, I noticed it says in your bio here that you actually tried to broker a deal of £1 million cocaine from behind bars.
Yes, that was something really stupid. That was a big mistake, because when you are in prison, you have to take your words there. You have to, whenever you say something, You have to make sure it is done. Otherwise, you will lose respect in prison. And in prison, people can't take you for a job or anything. And I had to stand on my ground. And one day, I was just joking around, and I said to someone, I can do this, I can do that. That person contact another person, another Colombian, the Colombian started talking, and then I heard them talking, saying to another group of people there in prison, oh, Jesus is always talking shit. He's always in big mouth. I was losing my respect, and I said, listen, I can do, and I'm not talking shit. And I sent someone into Colombia to speak to one of my contacts in here to provide the parcel. And then is when the police coming into us.
What was it like living in jail for so long? Like, how was it for you?
To do this business for so long? I don't know, really. It's something you don't realize. It's the times pass on, and year to year to year, and I didn't realize. When you are involved in this, you don't think properly. You just see money, and I say, you don't think, oh, this is it, I'm going to lose this, you don't feel scared or nothing. You just get involved in that, and you don't care about anything. Just money, counting millions and millions of pounds all the time, and that is the only thing. And the time goes. When then you realize they are on you, it's too late. Nothing you can do.
So, if you had a chance to go back in time, would you do it all over again?
That is a really hard question. Through this business, through my life in this business, I have helped hundreds of people. I didn't just use the money to be greedy. I had an orphanage even in Colombia. I had an orphanage with 100 children, and I provide them with medicine, clothes, everything they need, food, everything they need. And I was helping many people in Central America, in London even, people who nearly to lose their houses. If I look into this, for that, I will say yes, I will do again, help people. But if I look into this, for what I destroyed, because I destroyed many families, I will never do it. I will never have thinking on that. I will go back the time and I will say never do that.
Jesus started an orphanage. That's what he's talking about in Colombia, to help young kids that didn't have anything going for them. And the orphanage is still operating.
Well, so what do you want to do with the rest of your life now?
I'm an old man now. Now I'm thinking just to have my own piece of land, have my own garden, and grow out things, have my own dog, and enjoy my life. Just be relaxed, be cool every day, and spend the time with my wife, and she come to stay with me, and that is what I think it to do.
He wants to be a movie star too. he wants for our book to make it as a film like I do, and we've had some interest in it already. The book's not out yet, and we've had some interest in it on that. But it makes an amazing story, and hopefully something will develop from that.
So, Ron, when you wrote this book and went through and talked to him and stuff like that, was there anything that really stuck out for you?
Well, it was just, for a period there in the book when I was, researching it, I was thinking to myself, God, I mean, he really took chances there for a period with the Sicarios, didn't you, Jesus? With the Sicarios,
yeah.
They wanted to kill certain people, and he wouldn't let them out of principle, and that irritated them. But he had the right contacts, the right people that supported him within the Sicario community, and that was prevented. But eventually, they would have probably killed him. they probably would have killed him because he was a liability to the organization, and that's why Jesus had to leave Colombia because for his own safety on that, and he did leave, and it worked out, okay. I mean, for him, he developed one of the biggest cocaine trafficking organization in the United Kingdom history.
Yeah. Jesus, so whatever happened to your organization after you got arrested and you were put in jail and all that stuff? What happened to a lot of the other people involved? Did it all fall apart?
Normally that happens, yes. Someone tried to take control, fell apart, but in my case, about 34 people were arrested. Some in Colombia, some in Spain, and about 17 or 19 in UK. And for that reason, yes, and for that reason, that fell apart. Some of the big people, one of them, the big man who used to provide me with tons of cocaine, he was because he wanted to take the power wherever he's seen. For that reason, he got murdered by the Sicarios because they don't let the people to. Sometimes they don't want someone to take the power. They want to keep their power. For that reason, about a year after I was arrested, he got murdered by them.
Wow. The total, there were 34 people convicted for 350 years in prison. That's how big the organization. That's how big the organization was, and the British intelligence said that the price of cocaine jumped 50% after Jesus was locked up. That's the kind of impact he had on the cocaine market. Yeah,
it's true. I used to sell the kilo of cocaine at 23,000 pounds, and about a month or 2 months later, I was arrested. The price grew up to 35,000 pounds per kilo.
Oh, so it's your fault for that too. Wow. So that's quite a life you've had. What do you hope people get out of your book?
Yeah.
A good read, for one thing. That they'll be entertained for how many hours it takes to read the book, and it's an amazing life. I mean, he's very very quiet now. Jesus is leading a quiet life, but he lived several lifetimes in one lifetime. Doing what he did, and the fact that he was able to run this empire. I mean, he had 20,000 estimated 20,000 people working for him. He had probably just about 100 in the UK, and about 20,000 in Colombia, doing all kinds of things, money laundering, getting the drugs, everything on that sort of thing. So it was quite an amazing life, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to share it, with the public by writing the book, because it literally wrote itself, because it's such an interesting book, and there's so many twists and turns in his life that it makes for, I think, a great read.
Well, great. And so, Jesus, who's going to star as you in the movie? Yeah. In the book is all the information. The book, I believe, become very well. I spent many days, nights, months writing everything, and everything is there. Additional information is fantastic. Did you ever worry about backlash from people that are still in the cocaine world or business?
A little bit, but I don't think so, because I have no enemies. I don't owe money to anyone.
He's just never killed anybody. People don't have long memories about that. I mean, nobody's out for revenge against him, because of that.
But putting the
that.
book out doesn't give out any sort of information that someone might be cross at?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. It's essentially Jesus' story about how he did it, and
it's not real people the people involved there. They were behind me. They were working for me. The only main person there that was me, and I don't think so. I don't get any other organization involved. It's only my organization. No, I don't think so. It's not going to affect anything.
Wow. Okay, so now, Ron, where is the book going to be available, and is it out now?
The book is going to be. There's an ebook right now, but the print book will be out, and this will be the official launch of the book. Will be April 20th, and after April 20th, it'll be available everywhere. Barnes and Noble, Amazon, bookstores. It's going to be sold in the United Kingdom as well as the United States, and we're hoping to get the book Spanish rights to the book sold pretty quickly because there's great information on Colombia. It's a very unique story dealing with a Colombian kingpin in the UK rather than the US on that. So just look for it. Just go on Amazon and you'll see it on there. The Real Mr. Big, and you can buy it.
Okay, and you have a website as well, right? Too.
Yeah, I have a website. It's www.ronchepesiuk.com. People can connect with me on Facebook on that, and I'm not so active on Twitter, but they can connect with me on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure. So now, Jesus, we wish you the best, and we thank you for coming on and kind of giving us a preview of your new book.
Yes, you're very welcome.
Great. And thank you, Ron.
Yeah, thank you, Alan.
The book is called The Real Mr. Big, How a Colombian Refugee Became the United Kingdom's Most Notorious Cocaine Kingpin. Thanks for being here, guys.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Jesus.
Okay.
To find out more about our show, guests, or to listen to past shows from our archive, please go to www.houseofmysteryradio.com.
Show's over for now.
Was it as good for you as it was for me?
Well, good night.
This has been a production of Something Weird Media.
I'll be back.